Here's the first 5 rounds with this, 100 yards. Hitting high. There you go. Hey guys, you could kind of consider this a 1,000 subscriber celebration for me. I started doing YouTube back in 2012, and my goal was always to get 1,000 subscribers and 1,000,000 views. I think I'm going to accomplish the 1,000 subscribers, and I think the 1,000,000 views might be a year or 2 from now. But in order to celebrate that, we've got a beautiful 1943 vintage M1 carbine here. It's manufactured by Winchester. They made over 6 million of these. We're at the Alien Rifle Range, going to do a little bit of shooting, a little bit of talking. And this M1 carbine came in 3 different configurations. It came in the semi-auto that you're looking at here. The M2 was select fire, full automatic, and there was an M3 that used infrared sights on it for shooting in total darkness. So very, very interesting gun in that it was not solely created for frontline use. It was more for the people that were doing supply and those type of things, and it was to kind of replace the 45 ACP. It's a little bit more accurate than that. Has a range of about 250 yards, muzzle velocity of around 2,000 feet per second with a BC of 0.15, so they sink like a stone. But with the designation of the M, a lot of people have that confused. What the M is model. So when you look at this little gun here, you think, well, geez, this is an M1, and then the other M1 is a 30-06, which weighs a lot more than this. This is actually about, I don't know, it feels like a 5-pound gun, almost a toy. It's no means a toy, though, because it really is an effective firearm. But that M stands for model. So in 1925, they came up with the designation of, you know, M1 being Model 1 starting in 1925. This was M1 carbine, Model 1 carbine. Then there was the M2, and then there was the M3. Incidentally, the M3 was used very, very effectively in the invasion of Okinawa. There was about 30% of the rifle casualties to the Japanese was due to the M3 and that infrared night scope. They had actually about 150 of them over there. In order to operate them, you needed 2 men or women, and they ended up being able to be very effective in total darkness. So you can imagine people trying to go across your line, or you going out and hunting them after dark. It was a total stealth capability back in the 40s, and you know, we don't really see all the new state-of-the-art stuff that's out there, but it's got to be quite everyone. And one of the little novel things is because these were all interchangeable, all the parts. So in one particular instance, you had Underwood typewriter and Reliable Parts, I believe was the name of the company. What they would do is they would take part of the one name and put part of the other name as well. So there could potentially have been a GI out there walking around with a unreliable, which I thought would be very, very probably interesting, and the GI would have got a laugh out of that. 10-round magazine. It's blocked off, so you can only put 10 rounds in it. Any more than that would be illegal in New York. But because this doesn't have a pistol grip, it's got the regular wood stock, it's not a problem. Now they say that these are not accurate, but I have a target at 100 yards. I'm going to do a little bit of rapid fire on it, and we'll see if we can hit the target. This has a nice bolt catch back here, holds it open. The only thing I got to complain about this gun is that it's going to really spoil me for recoil. This did come with a bayonet mount on it that had to be removed. Have had to do a little bit of repair on the stock because sometime between 43 and now it got cracked, so I did a little repair on it. And down the road I will probably get a sling for it. The gas system that Carbine Williams was responsible for is right behind here. It's a very short system, and he designed that, thought it up while he was in prison on a murder charge for killing a police officer when they were raiding his still. It's debatable. He fired 2 rounds. He gave the gun to another guy, and between the two of them, I think they fired 5 rounds, and it'll always be a mystery as to who actually killed the police officer. But Carbine Williams ended up spending some time in prison, and at that time, that's when he refined his gun design. And he actually, when he got out of prison, because the patent office didn't want to talk to him while he was incarcerated, he did put a couple of patents out there, and he was a very, very brilliant guy. But you'll notice that this is the system looks an awful lot like an M1A or a M1 and the way that it works. But this is all new design. This is not new design, but it's unique to this particular firearm. The sight on it is very neat. It just has a detent, so if you want to change your elevation, you just move it up and down. Some of the complaints with it are that under recoil, which is very minimal, it may end up changing. Windage is beautiful. You got the screw on the side, and it's quite a nice... I guess they had grenade launchers on these too. The grenade launchers were notorious for breaking the stocks on them, though, I guess. So magazine, 10 round capacity, blocked off. One of the things was with the a complaint the GIs had is if your gun was on safety and you reached around in a frenzy to shoot, you'd accidentally drop your magazine, which was a complaint because it's right forward of this. And then another big complaint, which is pretty common knowledge to everybody, is the low energy of these. But this gun was never a front line, designed to be a front line. This was to be an improvement to the 45 ACP, and obviously at 100 yards most people would be able to fire a rifle a lot better than they would a pistol round. It did see some frontline use, and all of the reports that came back, well, quite a few anyways, were that it would take multiple shots, so to knock the enemy down, and some, I think some orders were made to take headshots in that event. Okay, first 3-shot group. These are a ball to shoot. Very pleasant round. No recoil. And I don't find the accuracy to be offensive. Here's 5. Target was swinging sideways, so I was only getting a... Starting to snow a little bit. We moved down to the 300-yard marker, and if you look right down over here at 300 yards, there's a piece of AR 500, and I just loaded up the magazine. Got 10 rounds. Trying to keep snow out of the action. Just moved the sight from the 100 yard all the way back to 300, and I put 2 clicks into the right because the wind is blowing from right to left right now. So here we go. You think I'm going to be able to hit that target down there at 300 with a M1 30 cal? Let's see. This is very exciting. Hey, born in 1943. It's got to happen once in a while, right? Wasn't fully engaged. Okay. Got a little function problem, but very, very easy to clear it. Biggest thing, I think, is that it might be just under gassed a little bit to cycle the action. So we're going to put this one that hit the ground there. One shot, 300. There you go. Got 5 more rounds. And this is all in fun because offhand with this little doggy from 300 is kind of difficult, but we got to try it. Easy to clear a jam with it. One out of 5. It's a long way to. That's a long way to go for toad. The accuracy of this gun is pretty darn good for the 1,000 feet per second that it's doing down there. And it is a 110 grain bullet, still doing 1,000 feet per second. I imagine you'd probably get somebody's attention with it. Certainly wouldn't shoot through body armor, but if you had rounds bouncing off of your helmet and hitting you at that range right there at 300 yards, I think you'd probably be a little bit detoured. The beauty of this is the carry weight of it. It's absolutely, it's almost non-existent. I think it really is quite a nice carry rifle for specific ranges. Now obviously you get a 308 or a 30-06, and you know somebody's laying down that kind of hardware down range, you're obviously going to really have a lot more effectiveness. But for being able to carry a lot of ammunition and just basically the weight of this gun being so light, imagine walking for a couple of days with this, you'd really appreciate the weight of it. And plus, you know, I'm hitting a man-sized target at 300 yards quite easily. May or may not kill them, but it's a pretty effective gun. So we're just about ready to wrap this one up. One of my more enjoyable videos. I really have a sound appreciation for that M1 carbine. It's a beautiful gun, and purchased it at Frank's Gun Shop in Canastota. He's got a great inventory, very knowledgeable, and he could probably take care of any of the needs that you have related to firearms. He has a good selection of gunpowder, both black powder and smokeless. And just want to thank Frank for taking the time to give me the tour around his facility, because it's very, very nice. Anyways, hopefully you appreciated the video. I certainly liked making it. Have a good weekend.